Hello. Wow, welcome again to the virtual conference live talks with me, Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman. And do we have an extra special guest for you today? We have actually a lieutenant colonel or lieutenant colonel, depend on where you're from. We've got people tuning in from all over the world, from America, from Israel, from England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales, and from Europe as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Please share, like, and tag this watch party. And of course, don't forget to say hello in the comments. The more comments, the more interactive we can get. You can ask our very special guest questions or make comments, anything that you choose. So who is our special guest? Avner. Well, maybe that is his name, maybe it's not, who knows? But we have a ex-Mossad officer with us. Avner had a very, I would say, very prestigious career in the IDF before he joined the secret organization called the Mossad. And apart from things that we don't know what he was up to, one thing that we do know is that education is really something he is very passionate about. And particularly education on the state of Israel and education on the Holocaust and other such subjects of interest that are very, very important that continue to be told. But Avner, of course, has a very special angle on telling these stories. And these are stories through the work of the Mossad. The Mossad being, I think, the only organization, we can ask him, but I think it's the only organization in Israel that's in charge of not only Israeli citizens, but Jewish people all over the world. But let's ask him when he comes. So don't forget, please put your questions in, and we will ask him, anything that you want. In the meantime, we'll try and get him out of the green room and introduce him. So hello, Avi, and welcome to the virtual conference live talks.
Hello, Dov, and good evening from Tel Aviv.
Wonderful. It's great to have you. And just before we start, I mentioned just before I introduced you, and I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself a little bit in a second, but is it true that the Mossad is in charge of the Jewish people around the planet and not just what happens in Israel?
Yes, it's true. And the Mossad, before the Mossad even established, we used to call it the Mossad for Aliyah. And they brought the Holocaust survivors to Israel in a illegal way. And but one of the missions of Mossad is to take care of every Jews around the world and to help them. And if they want to come to Israel, they can come, and the Israeli state will help them.
Wow.
Since we have the state of Israel from 48, unfortunately, we didn't have our state during the World War II. So this is one of the basic in our life that we will help. And even today, in the Corona days, the government of Israel sponsored El Al plans to bring our kids from all over the world. As you know, the Israeli soldiers, when they are finishing the military service, they need a 1-year vacation to travel all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's a strong connection between the Jewish communities and the state of Israel.
Another thing that I've heard of, again, I want you to introduce yourself, but what's been in the news recently about the Mossad during this Corona time is that they were almost immediately put into operation to bring personal protection equipment, PPE as it's called, masks, ventilators, things like that, to Israeli hospitals. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's not a secret, it's correct. And the Mossad got a strong relationships all over the world, and different ways to bring things to the state of Israel, especially in the days of the Corona, that in some places the airports shut down. So we have strong and wide options to send private jets and whatever you can think about. So the Prime Minister decided to ask the Mossad to manage this big operation.
Wow, amazing. So I'm going to ask you now, Avi, in 1 second, just to give a kind of an introduction to yourself, whatever you're allowed to tell us, of course, and then we can kind of move on to get some questions from our viewers, which are coming in already. So in 1 second, I'll just ask you to introduce yourself. So I'm very privileged to have a real live ex-Mossad officer with me on the virtual talks. It's the first time that we've diverted from our psychologists series. And the reason why I chose to start with this is because this show is about inspiring people, showing people that have passion in their work. And you have passion for education, and you're using your background to bring a different angle to that. So maybe tell us, who are you, Avraham?
Okay, so I retired from Mossad 5 years ago. I'm 55 years old. I got two wonderful kids, Nof and Ofek. And my cover is to look young. So I'm retired and I look young for my age. I'm not going to talk about the years in Mossad, but I can say that I always got a strong passion to history, and I used to collect original stuff, objects, pictures, maps from the real operations. And 10 years ago, I decided to put a small exhibit about the capture of Adolf Eichmann. It was exactly 50 years anniversary of the trial, and one day the Prime Minister Netanyahu came to the Mossad headquarters and he saw the exhibit and he asked me to come to the parliament, and it was the first time that the Mossad agent is coming with the real objects and passports and whatever from the operation, and from the Knesset, from the Israeli parliament, I moved to the Jewish Museum in Tel Aviv, what we call the Diaspora Museum of Bet Futzot. And from Bet Futzot, after a few years, I retired from Mossad, and we made a huge exhibition, like a 6,000 square feet exhibit, traveling in the state in the last 4 years. And we moved from the Jewish Heritage Museum in Battery Park, Manhattan, Skokie, Chicago, Florida, Dania Beach, Houston, Texas, the Holocaust Museum there, and the National World War II Museum in New Orleans. And again, more than 100,000 people saw the exhibition. And if you saw, some of you saw the movie Operation Finale, MGM.
Yeah, on Netflix, I think.
Yes. So the movie, they decided to call the movie Operation Finale. So actually, they took it from my exhibit because I was the first one that came with this name. And one day when I Googled to find interviews with me all over the world, I suddenly saw the picture of Ben Kingsley and the other actors, and I found out that Hollywood is going to make a movie. And with I used my skills to send email to the journalist, and I asked her to forward my email to the producer. And to cut the long story short, I became a chief Mossad consultant for the movie. I moved to Argentina for 3 months, and I'm also playing cameo in the film. So try to find me.
Oh wow! Okay,
Yeah.
so that's a mission in itself to try and find you in the movie. Got questions coming in, so just let's see what we've got here. So we've got Vicky Fruiton from Scotland, saying that she's looking forward to this very much. We've got a hi from Susan Cohn in Israel. We have got a question here from Rodi Yassin asking, why did you leave the Mossad? Yeah, good question. Special operations in the Mossad, why would you leave?
Okay, so we all have pension. I mean, I hope that the other people, when they retire, they got a pension. So when you served far away from home in different places far away from home, you got more than the normal pension. It means that when you reach the 50, you can have more than the maximum. So there is no reason to stay. And my deal with the chief of Mossad was take it 3 years, do whatever you want, and build a museum for the Mossad. So I was the first director of the Mossad Museum. And today I'm doing the same. I'm lecturing all over the world. And I hope, by the way, to come to Scotland. It will be my first time. After the corona, I promise to come.
Yeah, well, I've already, thank you very much, Rodi, for that question. Yeah, as Vicky's watching, I've spoken to Vicky, and hopefully we'll bring you to England and to Scotland, and Vicky will hopefully help us with that. Avi, let's see who else we've got here. Avi Garilli, and he says he's also an Argentinian, so that's great too. And
so I can tell him that soy el consultor de la película Operación Final. That's the only thing that I know, and it means that I was the consultant of the movie. So when I'm traveling to Argentina, I'm saying only this, and they believe that, wow, this Mossad agent, he knows so many languages, but only 2 sentences.
Okay, so we've got some questions which we'll leave also for afterwards, some interesting ones as well. I know that you want to give us a presentation. Everybody doesn't want to listen to me, they want to listen to you. So I'm going to, as soon as you tell me you're ready, I'm going to hand that over to you.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, so okay, so over to you. You can just take that away, and I'll leave you until the end.
Okay, so again, good evening from Tel Aviv. Actually, it's Herzliya. It's the next city north of Tel Aviv. And today is a special day because tomorrow will be exactly May 11 is the 60th anniversary of the capture of Adolf Eichmann. And here I decided to show you the front of the special medal that Roy Segev, artist and my partner, designed this coin. And I want to do, before I starting talking about the operation. If you look at the details, there's a lot of details in this coin, and the idea is to find a creative ways to talk about the Holocaust, because people don't wake up in the morning and say, what a lovely day, let's go to the Holocaust Museum. But if you take the art, or if you take the collectors, in this example, if you take the coins and medals, You can see that there is a small, you can see the small house in the left side. This is the house in Garibaldi Street. You can see the neighborhood. You can read the name of the streets. You can see a small plane. It's a Britannia plane, by the way. And you can see the 6 columns represent the 6 million Jews that killed in the Holocaust. And you can see the map of Israel, and you can see the Magen David. And in the end, we will see the both sides of the coin. Now, our story started in Argentina, Buenos Aires, on 57. And this lovely girl named Sylvia Hermann, she grew up in a Christian family, and she German Christian family in Argentina, and she went to a German film festival. And in this festival, that was in the Cine York. Cine York is a very old cinema in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, still exists and work until today. And you can see me here in this picture. When we made the movie, we decided that we are going to shoot the very first scene of the movie in the same location, in the same cinema. So she met Klaus, and Klaus told her, "My name is Klaus Eichmann." This is the whole story, a love story that started from Sylvia Hermann and Klaus Eichmann, of course, Eichmann's son. Eichmann escaped to Argentina on 1950, and 2 years after, his wife came to Argentina with the 3 kids, and they decided to keep the name Eichmann. So the reason that the Mossad could find Eichmann was because the kids and the family used the real name. Now, you can see this is a special spy picture because you can see in the corner the shape of the hole in the special suitcase in the right side. And what you don't know about Sylvia Hermann, I mentioned that she grew up in a Christian family. Her mother was a Christian, but her father was half Christian and half Jewish. He was half Jewish and a Holocaust survivor from Dachau. And he was blind. And one day, Nicholas, or Klaus, it's the same, came to visit Sylvia, and he met her father, Lothar Hermann. And Lothar Hermann asked him about his family, and Klaus told him, yes, we lost our father, he was a hero, and now we are living with our uncle, and his name is Senor Clement. Actually, it was Eichmann using the fake name. The fake name from the fake passport that the Vatican gave him, and he could escape from Italy on 1950 and to come to Argentina, to Tucumán in north of Argentina. So Lothar Hermann find out that it's probably Eichmann's son, and he decided to share this information with the famous Dr. Fritz Bauer. There is also a movie about him 2 years ago or 3 years ago, a movie about Dr. Fritz Bauer. He was the prosecutor in Frankfurt, but he was a Jewish Holocaust survivor. Think about the Jewish Holocaust survivor in the 50s in Frankfurt, dealing with Nazis. And when he got this information from Lothar Hermann, he decided not to share anything with the Germans. He decided to send this information to Israel, to the Mossad. So he is one of our heroes. There is a big institute now in Frankfurt with the name Fritz Bauer. I was guest there, and he's a very, very famous and important prosecutor in Germany. Now, he decided to go by himself to the German archives, and he brought all the documents that related to Adolf Eichmann. And he brought all the papers, and he just leave it on his table in his office. I was in this office, by the way, 3 months ago. And he told the Mossad that they can enter by midnight to his office. So the Mossad sent a Holocaust survivor that became a Mossad agent, and he flew to Frankfurt, and he entered by midnight, and he made, with a regular Leica camera, he made a copy of all the SS file. We call it the SS file. The original copy now is part of my exhibit, but you can see the picture of Eichmann with his left ear. You can see his ID number. You can see the SS under the picture. You can see SS 45326. And in this file, the Mossad could find a lot of information about him. For example, medical papers, things that can help you to recognize him, details about his family. For example, his wedding day, March 21st. Why it's important to know his wedding day, his anniversary? Because he used to live far away from home, but from time to time he came for vacations. And the Mossad knew that for the Germans it's very important to come in the wedding day or in the kids' birthdays. So they found also the kids' birthday, and they found out that Nicholas got a birthday, and they decided to send him a gift. We will talk about this gift. But these papers helped the Mossad to the operation and also to the Israeli prosecutor during the trial. The Mossad sent only one agent, Tzvi Aharoni. You can see him here. And by the way, Michael Aronov is playing in the movie his role. And he came to the Israeli embassy in Buenos Aires as someone that making a research about anti-Semitism. And here you can see a rare picture of him with some of the people from the Israeli embassy. You can see the singer in the right side. And in the left side, you can see the Israeli IDF attaché, the military attaché that served in the embassy, but he was also a part in this operation. And I have unfortunately, by the way, all the people from this operation passed away. And I met few of them during the last 10 years. So in the left side, you can see Yitzhak Elron, and Yitzhak Elron was the only one from the IDF, from the Israeli military, that took part in this operation. And when the state of Israel decided to make a special ceremony in the parliament, they found 67 people that took part in the operation from the Shin Bet. From the Shin Bet is like the FBI, it's the internal security, from the Mossad, and from El Al. We will talk about El Al. But no one thought that someone from the IDF took part in the operation. And he came to Tel Aviv to my exhibit, and he wrote 4 pages in the guest books. And he told me, look, I took part in the operation, and I have documents, and we became very close friends, and we used to travel in many places in Israel, and he was very happy in his last years to talk about this operation. And I really miss him, like all the other agents that all of them unfortunately passed away. Now, we all know the name, The House in Garibaldi Street. It's a famous book that the head of Mossad wrote, but the family, when Nicholas and start dating Sylvia, the house wasn't in Garibaldi. It was in Chacabuco Street in Olivos. And this is the house. I made this picture 2 years ago, and the house still exists. And when the first Mossad agent came, he found an empty apartment. And 2 workers there told him that the family just left 2 weeks ago, but one of the kids worked in the garage in the other side of the street. So he decided to send a gift, a gold cigarette lighter, and also he asked woman from the embassy to write to Nicholas from Sylvia a greeting card. And they sent it with a small boy. They gave him money and told him, go and give it to this. They followed the motorcycle and they found the house in Garibaldi Street. I told you that more than 100,000 people saw my exhibit. One of them came to Tel Aviv with this picture, and she told me that her father, part of the Jewish community in Buenos Aires, he didn't take part in the operation, but he gave his car. And you can see the picture of the car. This picture became a huge picture in the exhibit, and we also use it also for the movie. But I know for sure, as a former Mossad, that they didn't use the car for the capture. They use it at the very beginning to come from time to time to see the area, to make some photos. And you need a lot of cars. You cannot come with the same car for a few weeks, because the neighbors will find out that there is a connection between this car and something happened. So you must come, if you want to be a spy, don't come with the same car every day. This Leica camera, again, original camera from the operation. And when I'm talking with the young generation in the state, I'm showing this picture and I ask, what is it? And it's a funny question, because the young generation don't understand why we need to wait 1 week to develop the picture. What does it mean to develop pictures? And think about the Mossad sending one agent with this camera, and he need to develop this picture in a regular Photoshop. Here we can see the map from the operation, similar to the map that you saw in the front of the coin, and you can see almost in the middle the Garibaldi Street. It looks like a neighborhood, but it's not a neighborhood. It's a land map. Okay, and Eichmann was maybe the first one that bought for himself a piece of land. And you can see here the isolated house. And it was important. It was the first time that he bought for himself a house, because he used to escape and rent places and move from place to place. Nazis like Mengele used to rent a room in apartments, so the name wasn't in the door. So they usually used to do it for 2 or 3 months and then to move to a different place, and without any list of names or things like this. This is the house in Garibaldi Street. 1 month before the capture, on April 1960. And the mission for the first agent, the mission was, we want you to come back to Israel with the picture of Eichmann. But we want to have the picture of his left ear. And why it's so important to have the picture of the left ear? Because we already got the picture from the blue SS file that Fritz Bauer gave us. And we wanted to compare the shape of the ears and to try to find if it's the same person. And you can see here, you can see the picture from the operation and the picture from the SS file. I know it's in Hebrew, but 2 experts wrote that it's probably the same person. So in this point, the Mossad decided to start the operation. And now I'm going to share with you maybe one of the biggest secrets of Mossad. If you look at these people, this is the 11 heroes that took part in the operation. 10 men and 1 woman. One of them is a doctor. And if you look at them, they don't look like Chinese or Japanese, or They look like the people from the country that they grew up, like the one that grew up in Poland looks like a Polish, the one from Germany looks like a German. And this is the secret of Mossad. And we also have languages, and the languages for Mossad is like weapons. Remember this. The ability to enter to place with a fake passport and to rent a car or to take a room in a hotel. And this is the secret. Think about 11 Japanese coming to this operation. Now, I want to share with you a funny story about Abraham Shalom. Abraham Shalom was the deputy in this operation, but after years he became the head of Shin Bet. Again, Shin Bet is like the FBI, it's like the Mossad, but works inside Israel, not outside. And he grew up in Vienna, and the Mossad gave him a fake German passport. He flew from Israel to Paris, and from Paris, he flew with his fake German passport to Buenos Aires, of course, by himself. And he made a reservation in a very small hotel, and in the reception, he met a German guy that was very happy to see someone from Germany. And he asked him, "Where are you from?" in Germany. And Abraham, he got, of course, a cover story, and he gave him a name of a very small village in Germany. And the guy in the reception told him, "Come on, I'm from there." So Abraham looked at him and told him, "Look, it was a love story. She broke my heart. I don't want you to mention this village anymore." And but think about when you make a cover story, you need to support the story. If you never been in the place, you cannot use the name of small village. Even you must know the place before. Here we have the original, some of the original flight tickets that they used. You can see that they came with the KLM, SAS, Air France. And again, the young generation don't understand what does it mean flight ticket and why we need this. Because we have our iPhone and we have the barcode. In the exhibit, we have the original tickets. Part of the exhibit, it's part of the credibility of the story. As I told you, the agents came by themselves. So how can we have this picture? We have a picture of a Mossad agent, Jacob Gatt. You can see that he's in the center of the picture, but he doesn't look to the camera. You can see that maybe he don't know that someone made this picture, and he didn't know. He took the bus, and after 20 minutes, he didn't understand why the bus don't move. I mean, people waiting and waiting, and he don't know Spanish. He landed in Buenos Aires, of course, and he decided to take a taxi. And when he tried to get out from the bus, a policeman came and stopped him. And the other guy came with a big envelope, and inside he got a lot of pictures, and he found this picture, and he told him, souvenir, you should buy this souvenir. And that's why we have maybe the only picture from the operation, or the few pictures from the operation. This is one of the pictures. The Argentinian photographer worked together with the local police, and he forced the people to buy the pictures that they didn't ask for. But it's nice, and we also use his suitcase and tie. We use it for the movie to decide how to design the clothes. Now, the 11 agents, when they came to Buenos Aires, they started to follow Eichmann and to find his routine. Because when you know the routine, and it was 15 years after the war, Eichmann got a routine. He didn't try to change anything. He just came back every day in the same hour, 7:30 p.m. And he used bus line number 2 or 3. I made this picture 2 years ago, and the bus station is in the same place, and the line number 2 or 3 still exists after 60 years. And Eichmann used to come every day in the same hour. They decided to wait for him with 2 cars and 7 agents, to wait for him at 7:30 and to capture him. Now, here is a funny story and a creative way to build a cover story for the IDF attaché. In this picture, you can see the Argentinian chief of staff dancing with the IDF attaché wife, Sarah Elron, and the Mossad decided to sponsor a special party in the same day of the capture. On May 11, they sponsored a special dancing party with alcohol, and they invited most of the high-rank officers from the Argentinian army, and of course military attachés from different countries. And it was the alibi for our military attaché. And immediately after the announcement that the Prime Minister of Israel made that Eichmann is in Israel, the Argentinian asked the Israeli ambassador to go home. They told him, we call it persona non grata, but the IDF attaché stayed. Because of this party, because all the officers said, come on, he was with us. That was the idea. Eichmann didn't show up at 7:30, and they came with 2 cars. They didn't have a communication system, but they decided to wait. 8 p.m. and nothing. Suddenly, after a few minutes, the bus, second bus show up, and Eichmann was there. They capture him, and the doctor, they capture him, and they entered him to the car, and the doctor gave him dragged him with a needle, and they started driving very fast to the safe house. And they got a few safe houses inside Buenos Aires, outside Buenos Aires. And after 1 mile, they stopped to replace the car license plates. They brought him to the safe house, and they started to question him. Aroni started to ask him different questions. He asked him, what is your name? And he said, Ricardo Clement. And here you can see his employee card in Mercedes, and you see the name Clement Ricardo. You can see also the name of the street, Chacabuco 4267. He started to ask him general questions like the color of your hair, the color of your eyes, and the size of your shoes. And suddenly asked him, what is your SS number? And Eichmann gave him automatically the real number, 45326. And he realized that he made a huge mistake, and he asked for a glass of red wine. After 2 hours, he agreed to sign a paper that he is coming to Israel for a trial. And the Mossad needed to wait to the El Al plane to land to bring him to Israel. I will talk about it, but before it, I want to show you something from the movie. You can see here the potatoes, and the true story is that the Mossad used potatoes to make stamps, and you can try it at home. Take a half potato, put it above the stamp in the passport. After a few seconds, you will have copy of the stamp, and you can paste it in a different place or copy it into a different page. So anyway, when I served MGM in Argentina, and they asked me if I need something for tomorrow for the scene, I told them I need this and this and this, and I need also potatoes, and they thought it's a joke. So I needed to go to the supermarket and to buy these potatoes, and you will see them in the movie. It's for the Mossad table when they made a fake passport, and you will see few potatoes there. I want to mention Mengele. The Mossad, Mengele was a doctor, and he made a very, most of the people know the name Mengele and what he made against people. And it was important for the Mossad to find him and even to kill him. And during the operation, after the capture of Eichmann, the Mossad found out the address. And you can see me here standing in the front of one of the places that he used to rent a room for a few months. And the head of Mossad, Israel, asked the team to bring Mengele together with Eichmann, and they told him, I interviewed both of the leaders, and they told him, you are crazy, because the mission is to bring only one Nazi for one trial. This is the mission. And if you want to bring Mengele, let's wait after Eichmann landing in Israel, and then we will come back and we will find Mengele. Tzim, it's in Hebrew, but sorry, Tzim is the biggest ship company in Israel. And the first way to bring Eichmann was what we call Plan A, to bring him with the ship. And the Mossad checked the schedule, and they found the ship that's going to come at the end of May. But the head of Mossad, at the beginning of May, he read in a newspaper that the Argentinian going to celebrate on May, the same month of the capture. They are going to celebrate 150 years anniversary. And he decided to ask El Al to send a special plane, sponsored by the Mossad, by the way, with a special delegation. And the delegation will come from Israel, delegation headed by Abba Even, that was a minister without portfolio, and they will come to celebrate together with the Argentinians. That was the cover story. And a few days after El Al announced the flight, it was fully booked because Mossad agents in different places bought all the tickets. And when the plane landed in Argentina, few Mossad agents came together dressed like a El Al crew member. One of them is Yuda Carmel. In the right side, you can see two pictures of him before and after the makeup. And he entered as a navigator with this passport. The original passport is, again, in my exhibit in Michigan now. He entered in the front door to Argentina, and he got Argentinian stamp in his passport. And the Mossad agents came to his room in the hotel, asked him to undress. They took from him the uniform. They took from him the passport, and they replaced the picture and put picture of Eichmann. The picture that you see now in the passport in the middle is the picture of Eichmann that the Mossad made and developed in the safe house. And the funny story is people always ask me, what about Yuda? How he came back to Israel? And the funny answer is that after a month, the Mossad sent another agent to replace him, and until today we have someone that's flying every month to replace the Mossad agent that stayed there. This is a picture from the international airport in Buenos Aires, and the Mossad agent came to the airport 5 days before. They used to come every day twice. They found a secondary gate with the soldier. They became friend of the soldier. They used to give him cigarettes and whiskey. And every day during the 5 days they came, they told him, hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? And things like this. Hi, how are you? And they entered to the airport and then back. They left the airport and came again afternoon until the day that they came with Eichmann. In the movie, there is a scene that Eichmann's son, together with the police, trying to stop the plane. It's all fake. The only thing that is true is that the navigator needed to go to the tower and to bring them a piece of paper with the license to take off. This is a rare picture of Eichmann, a real picture from the operation. You can see the goggles cover his eyes, and you can see the needle. The doctor passed away 8 years ago, and I met his son, and he gave me this needle, and it became part of my exhibit. This is a fake El Al engineer employee card, and you can see the picture of the chief of Mossad, Israel. Of course, you don't see the name Israel. You see Ben Dror Chaim. It's a fake name, and there is a very funny mistake here because he grew up. He born in Israel in 1910 in a place named Afula. Afula, it's a famous city in Israel, but Afula established only 15 years after, on 1925. So this is a funny mistake, and usually I ask the audience to find, and then they got a gift, a coin. The Mossad landed, the head of Mossad landed with Eichmann and the other agents, and he met the Prime Minister Ben-Gurion and told him that Eichmann is in Israel. And Ben-Gurion asked him if he's sure for 100% that this is Eichmann. He said, yes, I'm sure. Ben-Gurion told him, I want you to find 4 people that met Eichmann in the past, and I want you to send them separately to the jail, and I want each one of them to try to recognize him, and then I want to talk with each one of them. 2 of them, 2 from the 4, told Ben-Gurion that they are sure for 100% that this is Eichmann. And the 2 days after Eichmann landed in Israel, on May 23rd, 1960, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion in the parliament in Jerusalem made his famous announcement that Eichmann is in Israel. It took almost a year to prepare the trial, because the Israeli police established a special unit called 06 Bureau, including 1 commander and 14 police officers that can speak different languages, especially German. And they took the map of Europe and shared to 14 different places. Each one of the officers needed to find maps, documents, pictures, and of course to find witnesses that agreed to come and talk during the trial. We have to remember that the Holocaust survivors didn't want to talk. They didn't talk with the second generation, most of them. The only one from this special unit 06 is my good friend Mickey Goldman. And Mickey Goldman, I wish him more than 120. I just interviewed him in my radio show last week. Mickey Goldman, you can see the number on his hand. He was a Holocaust survivor. And when he decided to be one of the officers that will question Eichmann, and he became the right hand of the Israeli prosecutor Gideon Hausner. Now there's a lot of stories around this operation. I'm actually writing a book about 100 people that took part in the operation, most of them without knowing that they are part of the operation. But this small bookshop in Jerusalem still exists, Loading Meyer, with the books. It was a books and also a library with books from Germany, Poland, and Romania, things like this. And every week, someone used to come and to pick and to take 5 books in German and to pay for them. And after 1 week, he came back with the books, and he took randomly 5 books in German. So the owners, Holocaust survivors, told him, "Are you going to read these books? Because it looks like you just pick in a random way the books." And he said, and you know, we do it in Israel. First of all, you have to declare it's a secret, and then you tell the secret. And he told her it's a secret. It goes to Eichmann, to his cell. And they decided, they told him, "Look, we don't want you to bring the books back. We don't want these books anymore. I mean, you pay for the books, but don't bring them back. But we are going to decide what you send him." And they started to send him books about the Judaism, pictures from the lovely Israel. And it was a kind of small revenge. This is the hangman, Shalom Nagar. Unfortunately, he's very sick. I met him 8 years ago in my exhibit, and he was a police officer, and he was the one that hanged Eichmann, and he became Orthodox after this. You remember Tzvi Aharoni, the first agent that came to Argentina, and you can see him here in this picture 20 years ago in Europe, meeting Eichmann's son. It's not Klaus, it's Ricardo, Professor Ricardo Eichmann. In the left side, you can see the small boy, 5 years old, Ricardo. Born and grew up in Argentina. And even today, he don't have any connection to the Nazis, any connection to his family. And he also came to Israel a few times. And the fact that he is Eichmann's son, it's very difficult for people that I met in the Tel Aviv University, and they told me we couldn't check his hand, we couldn't talk with him, even if he don't have any connection. But for us, it was very difficult. He lives in Berlin now, if you Google him. I'm going to almost the end of my program. I want to look at this poster. This poster is from Iran, and you can see Operation Finale, and the fact that people in Arab countries and also in Iran going to cinema to see this movie is very, very important, because they are not going to see a Holocaust movie, they are going to see a spy movie. They want to learn about Mossad. And so when they are going to see the Mossad movie, they can see also this picture that I made in Bariloche, Bariloche is a woods area, and you can see here in this scene how you can see in the right side the camera, and in this scene the Nazis shooting the Jews, and the idea is that when they are going to see a spy film, but at the end of the day they learn about the trial, and they learn a little bit about the Nazis and what happened during the war and what does it mean Holocaust. And I think that it's a creative way to talk in the future about Holocaust. Now, I'm sure you remember that Hitchcock used to play cameo in every single movie. You could see him in a bus, a passenger in a bus, for example. And in the scene that I took part, there is a Holocaust survivor waiter that serves us in the cafe, and the head of the makeup department asked me to make a number and just to come with a number. And I told them, I'm not going to come with a number, I'm going to find a real number from a Holocaust survivor. And she told me, you need to ask for to sign a contract because we are going to use his personal number. And this is a personal number from a Holocaust survivor from Hungary. You can see that it starts with A. And the Nazis gave the numbers with A at the beginning from May 44. So most of the Holocaust victims, of Holocaust survivors from Hungary got the number started with A. And this is the scene that I'm playing cards. In the center, you can see Oscar Isaac. You know him, I'm sure, from the Star Wars movies. And you can see that he looks and he's trying to read the number. And the waiter don't like the idea that the guest find out that he is a Holocaust survivor. He don't feel well with this. This is the scene. In Hebrew, by the way, I think the people that can read Hebrew, you can see the name of the cafe, Noftal. And the producer asked me to find the name of a cafe that not really exists. You cannot use a real name. So the name Nof is my son, and Tal, his girlfriend. So Noftal is my son and his girlfriend. Oh, by the way, for the people from England, in the right side, you can see the soldier. So this soldier is Matthew Orton, and he is the scriptwriter from London. Oh, and here we have the coin, and you can see also the backside. The backside is the David, what we call Magen David. You can see it in yellow Magen David, or stars, how we call it in English, Magen David. So you can see, of course, the yellow star and the blue star, and you can see also the gloves that the Mossad used to capture Eichmann, and you can see most of the details from the story. And this is the time for a Q&A, and you can also write down my website, avner.com. And I want to say something about avner.com, because when I served at the Mossad, I served in the Mossad, and I made exhibitions. A journalist used to interview me about the exhibits, and they couldn't mention the whole name because my name is Avraham Avner. And so they wrote A. Avner. And after I retired, I found out that avner.com is available, and I bought it. And before we will start the Q&A, I would like to say to Dov a good friend of mine. Thank you for having me in this program. And Dov is a really professional guy, and he helped me a lot. Even in these coins, he helped me with his creative ideas. And I hope to come very soon and to visit, to come to Scotland and to come to England and to talk about this operation. And also I can talk about Entebbe operation and other. There's a few operations that I made exhibits and movies, and I can talk about them. So I will stop sharing my presentation. Okay.
Hi, Avi. Wow, wonderful. What an amazing presentation. What a story. What artifacts and photographs and all sorts of different articles. Absolutely fascinating. So first of all, thank you very much for such a fascinating presentation. Before we go into some questions from the viewers, something that's really sticking with me at the moment is, what happened to Mengele? Why didn't they capture him? They were going to go back and pick him up and so on. What actually happened?
Oh, this is a great question. Thank you for the question. I mentioned that they decided to wait until Eichmann is landing in Israel. So 3 agents stayed outside Argentina in South America. And guess what? One day, no one can speak Spanish there. One day they took a bus and they saw someone holding a newspaper, and in the front page they saw the picture of Eichmann. And they realized that this story is out and they have to escape and come back to Israel. So actually, Ben-Gurion, Prime Minister Ben-Gurion, since he decided to make his declaration immediately, the Mossad needed to cancel the operation.
Wow, so that was a little bit of a little bit too eager, maybe, just from the point of view of the timing.
And I think, when I'm thinking about it, I think that Ben-Gurion didn't want, it's a fact that he didn't want the Mossad to spend money and to send people and to deal with Nazis. It was enough for him, one Nazi, Eichmann. And I got a feeling that maybe the head of Mossad didn't tell him the whole story, that there is a few agents that's still there and we are trying to do something with, okay? Because it doesn't make sense that you have soldiers that didn't come back and you declare about the operation. It doesn't make sense. It's like Entebbe. If the people that remember Entebbe, you cannot make a press meeting and talk about Entebbe when the planes are still in Africa. Doesn't make sense.
It's in danger, doesn't it?
Of course.
So wonderful. I've got a couple of other questions, but first of all, we've got Linda Rifkind is watching, and she says, "Good afternoon." I'm going to look down because I've got other things coming in here. So Sudip Badha-Thoki says, "Hello." I'm not sure where Sudip is watching from, but welcome. John Chacks. He's got a couple of questions. So he says, first of all, hello. And then he asks an interesting question. Where is it gone? He asks, so many questions. Just a second. He asks, what qualities does someone have or need to have to join the Mossad? Asking for a friend, wink, wink.
Okay, so he can Google and find the Mossad websites in 5 different languages, and all the information is there. But he needs to be Israeli, first of all.
Okay, so that's Susan Cohen, thank you for that, John. Susan Cohen says, fascinating. And she has an interesting question. She wonders why the family kept that name. I mean, is that not a little bit stupid, really?
Yeah, it sounds very stupid, but it's very complicated to make a fake passport with all the names of all the family members. Remember that Eichmann came by himself with a fake passport that he got from the Vatican. So actually, I believe that the Eichmann's family came from the front door. They didn't try to. It wasn't, if you ask me, it wasn't a big secret that Eichmann is in. They just traveled from Germany to Buenos Aires using the real names and the real passports.
Right. Okay. Wow. Amazing. So Linda Rifkin says, what an interesting, fascinating talk. Thank you, Avi and Dov. So that's wonderful. So someone in Scotland saying, looking forward to seeing you in Scotland. That's from Deborah Creedy. So thank you for that. John Chack says, thank you very much, Avi and Dov. This was really wonderful and interesting.
By the way, I can read it. I can see.
Yeah, wonderful. That's for people listening to us. Yeah, I know you can read.
I mean, your system is better than Zoom, by the way.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliments.
Yes.
From a Mossad officer, that's really great. Howard David Epstein is saying, I wondered whether you are aware of the book, Eichmann Before Jerusalem by Bettina Stagneth, which exploded the Hannah Arendt paradigm about the banality of evil. And if so, what's your view on it? Do you know this book?
I didn't read the book. Too many pages without pictures. It's very hard for me. But let's say that we don't like in Israel Hannah Arendt point of view. We don't like it.
Okay, interesting. We'll leave it there. Avi Garilli says, wow, that's great. Howard Epstein's from Herzliya. Avi said a great story and the details.
I'm also from Herzliya.
Yeah, so there's your neighbor. There you go. So John is asking, will the exhibition come to England? And we do have plans to bring Avi Avner or Avi Avraham or any other names that he might have. We do have plans to bring him to England and Scotland, but we'll have to wait until, of course, the lockdowns and coronavirus and safe to fly and all these things happen.
Okay, so my answer is that I have a suitcase with a small traveling exhibit, and we can do a special event. By the way, 2 and 3 years ago, I came a few times to England to talk about an Operation Entebbe, the hijacked plane to Uganda on 76. And there is a very, very strong connection between England and this operation, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But
I think it was even connected to Manchester, if I'm not mistaken.
Manchester, yes. One of the hostess grew up.
We'll leave that as a little hook for people when we bring you over, and we're all looking very much forward to that when it happens. We've got Gordo Wolf saying, fascinating presentation, thank you. Susan Cohen agrees with her, thank you so much. Very interesting, she says. Interesting question here from Deborah Creedy. She says, what happened to Klaus?
Klaus, after the capture of Eichmann, Klaus became the head of the Nazis in Argentina, and he passed away. And also Dieter, the other son, and the third son lives in Olivos until today, not far away from the cinema, by the way. And there is a journalist from Daily News that I spoke with him, and he made a very nice research. And I think last year he wrote about what happened with the family. And by the way, I want to show you all the designer of the coin. Roy Segev is my partner also. He made this piece of art that you can see. Wait a minute. You can see the both side of the coin. Look, I'm turning it, and you can
Turn
see.
it right around. Turn it right around. Yeah.
You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in this side, you can see the front with the blue Magen David star. And,
Star of David. Yeah.
yeah. Yes.
And the yellow star.
Yes. And by the way, if you want to support us in these days, we don't travel. I don't travel. I'm doing only Zoom. But if you want to support us and you want to buy a coin, you just go to mossadcoins.com. Okay.
Yeah. Mossadcoins.com.
Yeah, and you can find details about. We have now 3 different coins there, and you can have it with my autograph, and also Roy will write something to you when we said it. Okay.
Fantastic.
By the way, you have at home you have the medal.
I can say I'm a proud owner of the first one.
You are the only one in England.
Yeah, I'm the only one in England to have one. And so that brings me on to another question from Rodi Yasseri. And it's something that Yassin, sorry. And it's something that I was thinking about as well. How is it safe that you can say you're from the Mossad? She asked, is it safe to say that you're from the Mossad easily? I mean, is it not putting you and maybe your family or your friends in danger?
Okay, so it's a good question, but I'm the only case in the Mossad during the all years that I became the first one that became established and became the first head of the museum, and some of my exhibits became very famous in the state of Israel, and that's why I became famous in Israel and also in different places around the world. So that's the answer.
Okay, so that's
there is a place. I'm not traveling to every place. Actually, I'm not traveling to anywhere now. But yes, it's a good question, because usually people, sometimes people don't believe me. Also, they said, if you served in the Mossad, how can you say that you served for Mossad? I said yes, but I was at the end. I became the head of the museum. Okay, Rodi.
Okay, and we have, I think, the last question, which is from my girlfriend, Ilanit Levy. All right. Do you have an opinion about the suggestion that Hitler lived in South America after World War II? Is that possible?
Okay, so the one that made this television series, he is a former CIA, and I met him in New York. And he offered me to write with him the new season. Okay, and I will answer first of all about the Nazis in South America, and especially in Argentina. Even today, you can find the places, shelters, and things like this with a lot of communication systems. So everything is there; it exists. You have a German Nazi cities in Buenos Aires, not in Buenos Aires, in Argentina. There's a places that you cannot enter there. You cannot enter even today. But to connect this to Hitler and to say that Hitler escaped, I don't believe it. I believe that he committed suicide in Berlin, I think, in the bunker. So this is my answer.
Wow. You said in your presentation, so thank you for that question from your girlfriend Ilanit. And you said in your presentation that everybody that was really connected with this operation is now passed away?
Well, the only one that's still alive is Sarah, that you saw dancing with the Argentinian chief of staff. Sarah,
Yeah.
she lives in Tel Aviv. She's almost 90 years old. And by the way, she was the first one that got the medal, Operation Finale. And there is a serial number, by the way, in each one of them. We made only 200 coins, and there is a number in the side. So check your number.
Check the number. Okay, so that's fantastic.
The number in the side. In the side of the coin, let me show you. Wait a minute. Where is it? Oh, it's too small, but I try to show you.
Yeah, down a bit. Yeah, no, it's difficult to see.
Yeah, it's here. It's here, the number. Okay.
Avi's asking, an interesting question. How did the Argentinian government react after Eichmann was in Israel? I mean, they were tricked, really, weren't they? So what was their kind of reaction regarding Israel and, I suppose, in doing this operation?
Well, they made the minimum things to do. So they sent the ambassador home, and after a few months, the crisis was history.
Okay, so it was a short reaction. So thank you for that question, Avi, as well. So won't keep you too long. We've been absolutely fascinated. Everybody that's been involved, watching from all over the place, all different countries. We're all looking forward to seeing you in person when the world is safe enough from the point of view of health-wise to do that. And we all wish you from the virtual conference all the best. First of all, the best of health, but all the success in spreading this story and spreading these beautiful medals. And we've got so much information in them. So in the meantime, Lieutenant Colonel Avi Avner, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all the audience all over the world. And I want to tell you that don't wait that the corona will be over. Don't wait that the life will be the same, okay? And think about the new ways how to change your life, and it can be better. For example, I'm lecturing in the Zoom almost twice a week. And I don't need to drive. I don't need to travel. I'm cooking. I started to cook. And it's great life. So don't wait until the corona over, because it will not.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that advice. Avi Avner, appreciate your
Thank you, Dov. Thank you very much.